Joining me now are Llyr Powell, who campaigned for Leave, and Sally Stevenson, who voted Remain. Thank you both for joining me. Sally Stevenson, your thoughts on this latest effort to reach some compromise in the Conservative Party, at least, between Leavers and Remainers. Good thing or doomed to failure?
Well, they've got to find a solution somehow, haven't they? But I can't see that there's anything that hasn't already been explored. You know, we spent 2.5 years trying to find a solution to the Northern Irish problem, and I can't see how, with 8 weeks to go, there's anything new going to be developed now.
Perhaps it just needed a bit of pressure, the pressure of a deadline.
Maybe, we'll see what happens.
Llyr Powell, you are hopeful about this compromise, or do you think it's doomed to failure?
No, I think it's very positive to see politicians from both sides coming together to work in the national interest. I think both sides they're prepared to compromise, which is the first time we've heard politicians in Westminster use that word, not try to interpret what the vote was. So this could be a very good step, and now maybe the Prime Minister has this mandate, which Parliament has given her, to go over to Brussels to come back with a deal.
We'll get to what actually happens when she goes to Brussels in a moment, but isn't Sally Stevenson right to say that there have been 2 years of talks, 2.5 years, I suppose, if you take it all in total, and leaving it to the 11th hour, which is being generous, it's a bit late, isn't it?
Well, I think a lot of politicians have looked at the withdrawal agreement, and there's a lot where politicians here in the UK agree with Brussels. They've agreed on they'll pay the £39 billion. They've agreed on a lot of areas. So it's just now the backstop which they're looking at. And if they can find these new, well, not even new, the technologies out there we've heard now. So this is positive steps if politicians can come together and just agree on it.
While we're still talking from this perspective, you said it's positive that she's trying to reach compromise, but actually, shouldn't she be reaching out beyond her party? Isn't the compromise that she should be trying to reach with Jeremy Corbyn and with Plaid Cymru, the people that she's been meeting?
Well, I think the Prime Minister did try that, didn't she? And Jeremy Corbyn refused the first time to actually attend a meeting. Then, everyone's talking about she won't drop her red lines. Labour haven't actually said they'll drop any of their 6 points yet. So I think it's a difficult move there, but you are seeing Leavers and Remainers now actually uniting. And the public, as the country as a whole, are actually united behind it.
Sally Stevenson, is the problem that the opposition parties haven't engaged? They may have met Theresa May, but they haven't engaged with the process of compromise.
Well, they've not been invited to engage in the process, have they, so far? It's only in the last couple of weeks that she's finally acknowledged that she needs to involve a cross-party group to try and find a way through this.
I'll stick to my idea that it's this, they need the sharpness of a deadline to try to get there. Do you think, let's think about actually what happens at the other end. Do you think that actually the EU needs to recognise what's going on in Britain and the EU needs to compromise now? Well,
I think they've been negotiating with us for 2 years. This isn't new news that we're looking at now. It's not the first time we've spoken to the EU about the Irish backstop problem. They've been round every conceivable solution that is available to both sides to come up with it. As the EU said over the weekend, this is not new. The solutions that are being put forward now are not suddenly new, because if there was something that was going to work, they would have found it by now.
Llyr Powell, what could the EU do? Angela Merkel talked about a creative solution, so it's some sort of form of words, perhaps. Is that all that's actually left, is a form of words?
No, I don't think it's a form of words. I think the backstop does need to be looked at, and the European Union do need to open the withdrawal agreement. I think Parliament has said that overwhelmingly. But to move forward, we've heard that the technical solutions are there. We've heard now Lord Trimble is actually saying that the backstop could actually be illegal. There's now a legal challenge on that. So I think the backstop's going to be reviewed, whether the European Union say yes or no.
I need to pick you up on one thing. I mean, there's dispute over whether the technical solutions are there or not there. Nobody's tried that yet.
Well, the European Parliament has actually admitted it themselves. If you read their reports on Brexit and a smart border solution, they produced this over a year ago. Myself in the Welsh, in the Centre for Welsh Studies, produced a paper that shows these technical solutions are out there. So I don't buy that they don't exist.
They're not tried and tested, are they?
Sally Stevenson?
We've not. There's no evidence to suggest that the technical solutions are there that will work.
No, but any part of technology has got to be tested at some point. Are we going to say that nothing can be ever improved because it doesn't exist yet?
No, but it's never been tested on a border. There's no border like the Irish border anywhere in the world, so there's no way that the technology is going to work in the way that we would need it to.
I wouldn't agree with that. Technology is always improving, and the technology, most of it, what we're talking about, already exists. It's just never all been used at the same time in one place. So I don't agree that it can't be done at all.
Sally Stevenson?
Well, I just think if it was available and was working, then obviously it would be part of the backstop, and it's something that the EU would have agreed to.
Which is what we're exploring now.
The fact that in the next 2 or 3 years it will be in place. We know that technological processes don't work. They need time.
But that's why they are meeting now. That's what the agreement is coming to.
A quick answer from each of you. Do you think Brexit Day will be delayed, Llyr Powell?
I hope not, obviously, but there is a huge chance of that. I hope we go to a transitional rather than a delay.
And Sally Stevenson, do you think there'll be a delay?
It will need to be, because we're totally not ready.
All right, OK. Thank you very much for that discussion. That was Sally Stevenson and Llyr Powell. Much appreciate you being with us tonight.